Oh, don't give me the light. I'm staying here for another hour. I'm doing my HBO special here today. You know what I love? These people would have left an hour ago, but they didn't want to walk past him. They're afraid for their lives.
Today on the Tom Kelly Show podcast, we have big, middle-of-the-road opinions on Donald Trump being indicted by New York City Attorney General Alvin Bragg over the whole Stormy Daniels thing. Don't worry, won't be that heavy on politics. Plus, we got stand-up comedy clips from me performing down in Times Square. We have my things to do list and a few reflections on the Museum of Failure. Let's start the show.
The Tom Kelly Show. Everybody, I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know about the Tom Kelly Show.
Warning, spoiler alert, this show will be one for the Museum of Failure. You are experiencing a Sunday morning, last-minute edition of the Tom Kelly Show. Good news is I've been busy, people, really busy. I have been, I'm doing another late night news piece for ABC News at the Museum of Failure, which is a pop-up show in Brooklyn. I'll talk more. Actually, I'll tell you about it now. The news piece will be better, but a quick couple of things. It's a conglomeration of some of the world's biggest corporate failures or failed products. So it has like Google Glass. You remember those glasses? It has Crystal Pepsi. It has New Coke. Remember New Coke versus Old Coke in the 1980s? Coca-Cola famously changed the formula for Coca-Cola and the world rioted, people. What else was in there? A Ford Edsel from the 1950s. So it was a little model. And then it had, it had models and the history of Hooters Airline and Trump Airline and a 737 Air Max. You remember those, the ones that kept crashing for a while? I guess here's a great question for you. Would you rather fly on Hooters Airline or Trump Airline if the plane were a 737 Air Max? Now, that's a dark joke, but that's the kind of stuff it hit. It was a little less death and doom, but it was a lot of, hey, you have to take a chance to innovate. And sometimes the person who takes the first chance and fails isn't always the one who makes the money on the success down the line, which was sort of a heavy lesson floating around in that. So along those lines, this podcast is worthy of the Museum of Failure in that I'm always trying to innovate. I'm trying to find the right process for doing this show, and I'm always just kind of missing it. Do I want to shoot with a third camera and green screens? Do I rate better when I talk straight to camera? And I find I do best when I talk about an edgy topic on YouTube and the numbers go up, but I don't know if the numbers go up and people stay, you know? So you have that. And I'll tell you one thing I learned from the Museum of Failure is everybody who failed there famously made a decision to chase a dream. And for me, I have trouble sometimes waking up in the morning and figuring out how to start my day, how to get things going. It's been weird being my own boss because sometimes you have to be your own boss. You have to decide what you want. Again, I quoted again the Al Ruddy quote from a couple of weeks ago. Being a TV or movie director is easy. You have to decide what you want and how to get it. And what I want from you guys is, hey, I want to do a show for you. And the secret to do it today is I'm doing it on the laptop. I'm going to plug in some stand-up comedy clips. And yeah, we'll do a quick hodgepodge of a show. So this is... I know this is not a political podcast. For those of you new to the Tom Kelly Show podcast, this is where the offbeat come to meet. This is the podcast that owns the midlife crisis. This is the podcast where good people are figuring stuff out and we're moving forward and laughing our way through the midlife crisis. And obviously, if you have not already, write a nice review about us on Apple Podcasts. Comment if you're watching on YouTube. Just say hi. That's all you got to do. Just say hi. A little waving emoji. That helps. That makes me feel like someone's there. And it's not a heavily political podcast, but when you watch about what's going on in the world, is that putting all of us into some form of a crisis? By the way, I'm looking at my own reflection on this computer screen, and I spit at the beginning of the show, and I spit on my own face, like right in my eye. I don't know if that's a warning sign, so I just wiped that off for those of you listening and wondering why I just divulged. But just diverged. But for real, the world is kind of a mess, isn't it? Doesn't it feel like when you watch what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, you watch what's going on right now in American politics. There are people so far on the left, they're doing this. There are people right now, this is where the world is at. We have one set of politicians banning drag shows. Drag shows. Now, do we need it in the schools? We could argue about that. I don't know. Do we need it do we need, we could argue about transgendered healthcare. We could argue about a lot of things. But drag shows overall, that's one set of politicians. I mean, now there's another set of politicians here in New York City where, I'm very sensitive about the parking garage guys because I'm parking my car in a garage. And somebody broke into a parking garage not far from Madison Square Garden and Hudson Yards. And the guy went in with a gun, held up the security guard to go steal a car. The security guard wrestled with him and then somehow shot the guy who broke in with the guy who shot him's gun. No, does that make sense? With the perpetrator's gun. So the security guard shot the guy who broke in with the guy who broke in's gun. And now the security guy's the one getting charged. I wasn't there. I didn't look at the cameras, but, this all could have been avoided if somebody didn't try to break in and steal all the cars in the garage. And the one, with Donald Trump right now in the news is there's a New York Post headline, an opinion headline, and the quote was, had Donald Trump shot Stormy Daniels, New York City District Attorney Alvin Bragg would not be prosecuting. Now, you guys who have listened to the Tom Kelly Show for the last 3 years got a chance to listen to my friend Tom Kniff, a guy who I grew up in the same neighborhood with, but did not really know. He ran against Alvin Bragg for Attorney General and predicted everything that has been going on with Alvin Bragg for the last year and a half, which is he's kind of soft on crime is a word, or just choosing not to prosecute crime. And again, that was all predicted on this podcast, and my buddy Tom Kniff got very, very little press over the issue. Fine. Now, Trump, I didn't vote for him either time. I got to get that out of the way. Trump, I am not in love with him, especially after everything that happened around January 6th. But I don't think this Stormy Daniels case is the case to try a president for the first time ever. It's just not. And I'm a man looking for work. I'm a comedian. I'm freelancing. And the hard part is a lot of the people who work in TV are pretty liberal. They are. They just are. And I'm a registered Democrat, but I don't know. Am I liberal? I'll let you guys decide. So also I have friends. Who are so far pro-Trump that I just don't want to talk politics about them. And then I have friends who are so anti-Trump that I don't want to talk about it. But listen, a lot of money is going to be spent over protecting New York City over this stupid case this week. And as a man who is freelancing and looking for a full-time warm-up comedian job or whatever the next step of my career is, I've kept typing out little political opinions on Trump and then going, don't post that, Tom. There is nothing good that can come out of that. And then here I am, a man with a podcast. And I'll read what I wrote here. I guess this is the format where I can get it out and read it here. So, as a man looking for work, it's not smart to post political opinions. But as a New Yorker who does not love Donald Trump and does not love New York's Attorney General, the impending Stormy Daniels case is bad for the integrity of our country. And this is an actual tweet from star witness and porn star Stormy Daniels. Thank you to everyone for your support and love. I have so many messages coming in that I can't respond. Also, don't want to spill my champagne. Hashtag Team Stormy merch / autograph orders are pouring in too. Thank you for that as well, but allow a few extra days for shipment. Okay, the fabric of our country, the integrity of the presidency is at stake here. And the star witness is a porn star selling more merch. And I'm not even shaming her for being a porn star. I'm shaming her for combining this with an announcement about allow a few more days for shipping after selling your merch. This is it. And then listen, her former lawyer who publicized the case, Michael Avenatti, her former lawyer who publicized the case, Michael Avenatti, he's in jail for fraud. And then listen, again, there's no good guys here because on my side, Alvin Bragg, a year ago, January, was being threatened by New York's Democratic governor, the Democrat, to start prosecuting some cases or she would remove him. I mean, there's no good guys here. There needs to be more. This is the liberal equivalent of the Hunter Biden laptop case. Is there something there? Maybe. Is it enough to destroy society? No. Now, Congress, January 6th, investigate. Let me see. I want to see what you got. Russian collusion, I'm there. Let me see what you got. Right now we're prosecuting a case about how a man paid hush money to a woman who did not honor the conditions of accepting the hush money. There's no good guys here. And in fact, Stormy Daniels makes money off this. I mean, I'm not a porn consumer, but let's pretend I am for the sake of the joke. I didn't know who she was before all this. There's got to be somebody here who listens to porn on the podcast or watch. Actually, if you're just listening to porn, that's kind of sad. I could do that for you here. But if you're watching porn, did you know Stormy Daniels before all this? I didn't, and there you go. And I think what you're doing it just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. And back to the theme of why I'm talking about this on the podcast. I just want to be happy for a bit. I just would love, spring is here. The warm weather's here. I need something to make me happy. So there you go. Let's do a little bit of going through my stand-up library here. I'm having a lot of trouble with Instagram, and I'm confused as hell about TikTok. Instagram, I'm trying to whittle down who I follow on Instagram. I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before. A couple of reasons. One, Instagram, I think, punishes you for having a lot of followers who don't interact with you and whom you don't interact with, blah, blah, blah. And two, I tend to follow people in bulk, and I want to unfollow groups of people who don't bring me joy. Sometimes they're just random fans who followed once and I followed them back, like acquaintances. Actually, I think here's a TikTok that I posted. It was a stitch, and this one did not do well. If I can find a quick 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Incoming stitch. The picture is unfollowing the girl you talked to in the club 4 years ago. And then I have my reply.
It's so mean. Don't do it.
My standard for keeping long-lost acquaintances is pretty simple. Do they still follow me? Do they like all my stuff? If the answer is yes to both, I keep them. And if no, I lose them. Like that guy behind me, gonna lose him now. There you go. So that's one. And now what's funny is I posted that on TikTok and it hit that 250 ceiling and it went nowhere. Went nowhere. So I'm just going through my laundry list here. Doing a lot at the LOL Comedy Club. I'm getting ready to go to Los Angeles to warm up the audience at the $100,000 pyramid. The audience will just be VIPs and staff. So don't bother asking me how to get tickets. It's going to be like right now, they're still figuring out they can get the show done very quickly with smaller audiences. So thank you, COVID, for making America realize that. That's happening at a lot of game shows right now. A lot of shows are just doing like, oh, let's get in enough people to have natural laughter, but we won't do the big audience. Big change in my business, but we'll get into that. But I'm doing a lot at the LOL Comedy Club, which is, it's an experience that it's not a respected comedy club in New York City, to be simple, but it is for me, as I'm scratching my nose, it is an experience that sharpens you, especially if you're a man who does crowd work for a living. Do me a favor, guys. If you have any kids in the car right now, stop the podcast. The next clip is going to have a lot of cursing. Good news is it's not me doing all the cursing. There's a guy in the crowd who, is it possible that the worst audience member was having the most fun, but instead of laughing, he would just yell out, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." He and the two ladies with him were definitely drunk. It's one of those, the most annoying loved me the most and loved, it was just a whole darn show. You know what? Let's let the clip speak for itself.
You know what I love, sir? You can't put your feet on the stage if you're wearing orthopedic shoes. Hang on. The guy who had the phone ring is the only one I'm actually afraid of. Like, you're too loud. You're too loud to kill me. You're going to be like, oh, shit. The cops will be there in a second. That man has a silencer and a gun. You know what I love? These people would have left an hour ago, but they didn't want to walk past him. They're afraid for their lives. Sniper guy. You know what I love, too? Were you in the military? You have military vibe. What, no? What do you do for work, sir?
I'm not. Don't be scared of me, please. Don't be scared.
What's that?
I own a towing company.
Gotcha. You have killed a man. Good for you. If you're on TikTok, I am Tom Kelly Show. I got a couple of good Columbia jokes. The after party. Oh, it's going to be at the corner of 42nd and 7th. That's the subway station. Just get on any train and get the fuck out of here. But I am Tom Kelly Show on TikTok. Tom Kelly Show on Instagram. Tom Kelly Show on MySpace for you, sir. Tom Kelly Show on Black People Meet. I'm catfishing there, but I am there. And my name is Tom Kelly. Wait. Hang on. He's leaving now? Do you guys want to start over?
There's plenty of show here. Folks, I know for sure the next month of shows are done. There's going to be 2 more fresh shows in real time, and then a bunch of shows are done. Every Monday and Wednesday, there is a new Tom Kelly Show podcast. And I know that's coming because I've done most of the second half of April. So you know what to do. Enjoy, share. I have a lot of Los Angeles stand-up dates coming up. So if you're in Los Angeles, check my website, TomKellyShow.com. I'll be doing a lot at the Comedy Chateau for sure. Stories about that for later. And, really quick, since I haven't done this in a while, commercial that isn't a commercial. Kelly Banks Cakes. She's a friend of Michael Strahan's. She's always been kind to me. She makes the best brownies on earth. And whenever Michael Strahan does something nice for me, like hiring me at the $100,000 pyramid with a very small audience, I like to do something nice for her. Go order your Easter brownies from her, though I think it's probably too late to put in the Easter orders, but order your spring brownies from her. Do you have a gift for a teacher you want to give? That kind of a thing. She's not paying for this commercial. I genuinely love her brownies. I specifically love the peanut butter ones the most. And yeah, and tell her Tom Kelly sent you. If you're looking for something nice to do from a mom and pop person, she ships them and she's amazing. KellyBanksCakes.com. And my name is Tom Kelly, folks. God, that's how I know I'm doing a lot of stand-up, that I had to end with saying my name. Anyway, folks, thank you. Show love where love can be shown. Good night, New York.